I think we can all agree that we're here because the negotiations between the Humane Society of the United States and Farm Bureau Federation and the like has been unsuccessful, unfortunately, like it has been in other states where things have actually happened, like Michigan recently and California and 5 or 6 other states. And I think some of the argument here, or the issue here for me, is getting lost in some of the generalizations. And I think it's important to note that the legislation that the HSUS is seeking to pass is very specific, and it says that only 3 types of animals, a pregnant pig, an egg-laying hen, and a calf raised for veal, cannot spend a majority of the day in a pen that doesn't allow them to stretch their legs, lie down, and turn around. That's all it says. It doesn't deal with dairy or beef cattle. It doesn't deal with broilers. It doesn't deal with.
Let's get to, because I want to get to more questions. Is this board overstepping its need? If that's the only thing that this legislation next year could require.
Briefly, let me just go to California, where they passed this last year, and they used the same language. And the language, the assumption was there's already been a proposal in California by one of the farms to adopt a system that has been adopted in Europe. Europe is ahead of the United States in terms of animal welfare issues, in terms of what they've at least decided. They've had the discussion. I'm not saying that what they decide is ahead of us, but they've had the discussion much more than we have. My point is, this company wanted to build, they're called, I don't want to get into the details, but they allow the hens, it's an enhanced system, but they're still confined. Immediately when they brought this forward, the HSUS came forth and said, no, that does not, you cannot, what our amendment, or what issue 2 means for us is that you can't do that. That we only accept anything that does not have a cage. In other words, it may seem like it's a very simple, reasonable principle. And I agree that it is a welfare principle, but it is not that simple. And right now, California is struggling. And of course, I don't know why anybody would invest any money in livestock in California right now, in that kind of situation where you try to address what is being done, and immediately you're told that doesn't address it.
But it's not just California where it was voted in by referendum. There's states where they've engaged the Farm Bureau in that state, like Michigan recently.
And Michigan has no idea.
To it. And
Michigan does not have a process in place to deal. They're going to find out what California's finding out. Michigan just did this. As soon as Michigan tries to do something, then they're going to come forward and say that doesn't.
We're getting bogged down into the details. Let's get to Joe. Joe, let's get to the bottom line. Do you support these regulations that have passed in other states as far as the care of livestock?
Well, I don't think it's wise to go about inserting things in the Constitution, whether they have to do with these narrow practices or not. But that said, the American people in state after state after state after state and the European Union have already voted on this. In fact, the Farm Bureau's polling said the same thing in Ohio, that people have decided that these practices, these extreme confinement practices, are not something they support. So
you would support if the Humane Society put this on the ballot next year? A similar piece of legislation?
We don't like a ballot approach to anything like this. But unfortunately, since this is a constitutional amendment, we now cannot have the discussion legislatively. We would have to go to